Today's video has been very kindly sponsored by Datacamp. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, I'm originally from India. I moved to UK in December 2018 and next month it's going to be 3 years of me living in the UK. And so I thought this is the perfect time and opportunity to film a video on the reasons why I moved to UK and the reasons why I love living over here. Alright, so I've got my cup of tea over here with me and UK and tea, like they're quite synonymous. Everyone is always up for a cup of tea or everyone's always up for some afternoon teas.
Will you have a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea? I want you to have a cup of tea.
So I thought I'm going to name this video Spilling the Tea on the Reasons Why I Moved to the UK. So when I was deciding what I wanted to do with my life after my medical school days, there was one question which I always asked myself, that do I see myself living in India long term? Do I see myself and my partner growing old for the next few decades? The answer always wasn't a straight yes or a no, but it was something along the lines of, if something better came up, then I wouldn't think twice before moving out of India. And then came the question of, so what are the options in case we decide to move out of India? And there were 3 options that stood out in my head. That was USA, UK and Australia. This video is not about why I did not choose USA or Australia. This is about why I chose UK. So yeah, if you can draw conclusions out of it, well and great. I'm not going to be putting out negative content about other countries, so if that makes any sense, but there are obviously some comparisons here and there throughout the video. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the video. So in no particular order, the number 1 reason why I moved to the UK is travel. I know the pandemic has played a spoiled sport, but in spite of that, I have traveled to Paris, Chicago, Gibraltar, Scotland, wherein to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Bath and other smaller towns in the UK. And growing up in India, travel was something which was very integral part of our life. I've traveled to 25 states in India and to 5 union territories, and that is something that was very well cherished between my parents and my sister and me. We loved exploring old cities in India, exploring the ancient Indian history, cuisine, learning different languages. People might think that, oh, it's the same country, how can it be so diverse? It's a very big country. So that's something we really enjoyed exploring growing up. So when the chance of moving to the UK presented itself, I knew that I just had to go for it, because you're literally 2 hours away from something like central Paris. You catch a train from central London and within 2 hours time you're in central Paris, or you catch a train from here and you're in Amsterdam, or you catch a train from here and you're in Belgium. You're literally less than 2 hours flight away to Spain, Germany, Prague, Switzerland, so many other different countries. I literally can't think of any more on top of my head. So travel is one thing which was very dear to me even before I moved to the UK, and so one of the main criterias of moving to the UK definitely was travel. I wish I could travel much more, but yeah, obviously the pandemic has had a role to play in it, but that's fine. Things are almost resuming back to near normal, so I can't wait to travel again much more than I have in the last 3 years. I mean, one thing that really blows my mind away is that, you're literally just 2 hours away from all of these European countries. If I were to catch a 2-hour train from Hyderabad, I wouldn't even reach Ramagundam where my parents lived, and that's in the same state. And here you're traveling between countries. I know India is a very big country, geographical area and location wise, but isn't it just amazing to think that you're literally a few hours away from all of these countries and you could just cross over and have a different kind of experience with regards to the cuisine. The language is different, the culture is different, the architecture is different, and it's not just about catching a train. You even have the option of catching a flight. The flights are so freaking cheap, so that is the bit in the travel that I included, that it's so cheap to travel. It's ridiculous. Like, I couldn't believe my eyes that this is how cheap it is to go from London to any of these countries in Europe, and in between these countries as well. It's so much easier because it's all one visa, which is Schengen visa in Europe. Literally cross border even by road. It just sounds like a far-fetched dream when you're living in India, and it just seems so much more accessible when you're living over here. So yeah, you could do such short trips and weekend getaways and go with your family, or take an annual leave for even 2 days, or just catch a train and go have lunch in Paris, or even just go visit Disneyland in Paris and come back by evening. Moving on to point number 2. Point number 2 is there is something for everyone. There is so much opportunity for people when it comes comes to creative space and even outside of creative space, people pursue so many of their dreams outside of their 9 to 5 job, which is really encouraged over here, and that's something was really missing back home in India. I think it's picking up now, wherein people encourage you to have extra things or extra side passions outside of your 9 to 5 job, but it wasn't really a trend when I'm talking of like a decade back. Yeah, so that's something which has been a bit of an odd factor with me when I was living in India. So, and this is something which is really encouraged over here. And you know, I don't think any of my professors back in India knew how much of interest I had in, say, dance music or in social media. And my YouTube channel, which I have now, has made it to my CV over here, and that's something I very proudly talk of when I sit for job interviews. One person who I've really admired with regards to this is Ali Abdaal. For those of you who do not know Ali, he is a junior doctor who was working in Cambridge and had side passions, which has now become his main career.
So starting this YouTube channel is hands down the single best thing I've ever done in my life.
So he's a full-time YouTuber, has an academy where he teaches how to make YouTube videos and how to make a career out of it, called Part-Time YouTuber Academy. He has podcasts, shares lessons on productivity and time management.
All right, so over the past 10 years, I have read basically all of the books around productivity and time management.
And something I really admire about him is that how transparent he is about his journey. I've watched almost all of his videos on YouTube, and something that he has said quite a lot is that one thing if he would recommend people do in their life or learn in their life if given an opportunity is to learn coding.
Really unlocks your brain in a very interesting way to be able to see ideas for things in the world around you.
So I've taken it upon myself to learn about data and about coding. So talking about side passions and talking about coding, today's video has been very kindly sponsored by Datacamp. Datacamp is an online platform that makes acquiring data skills easier and more convenient for everyone. You can learn data skills that you need online at your own pace. Their main mission is to teach data to everyone, from beginner to pro. You can learn these data skills at your own pace, and you can stand out professionally and make a career out of it. How brilliant is it that you can become data fluent today? They have courses for all different levels, both newbies like me and for pros, where you can find great ways to grow your knowledge. Datacamp has over 350 data science courses designed by top experts. It can help you build your portfolio in your job, in day-to-day life, something really shiny to add to your CV. The course that I'm currently watching is Data Science for Everyone. If you're a beginner like me and you want to start off on the easy footing, wherein you want to watch a course without coding, then this is something I would definitely recommend you check out. This is a non-technical course wherein they teach you about the ever-growing and exciting field without the need to write a single code. Through hands-on exercises, you learn about the different data scientist roles, foundational topics, time series analysis, and machine learning, and how data scientists extract knowledge and insights from real-world data. I think it's really exciting that we get the opportunity to learn something new and different outside of our 9 to 5 job, sitting right here in front of our laptop screens. I think it's time to invest in yourself, and if you're interested in that, then I'm going to leave a link down in my description box. You can check any first chapter of any course for free. Thank you once again to Datacamp for sponsoring this video. From side passions to life outside of work, there's a fun fact over here. There are 47,200 pubs in the whole of UK. Getting a pint of beer or grabbing a drink with your work colleagues is very much a part of the UK work culture over here. I mean, you don't have to drink, and they really respect that as well. What I meant is that it can be kind of therapeutic and relaxing to walk down to the pub after a day's work or a long day with your work colleagues and just literally unwind and let off the steam. And I promise you, every time you're walking down the street in any part of the UK, you turn around a corner and you will definitely see a pub down there. There are over 3,500 pubs in London alone, and that kind of gives you an idea when I say there's pub culture over here. And it's not like a bar or a club like in India or USA, you know, where people dress up formally when they're going down to the bar or to the club. People here literally wear anything, show up in comfy clothes. People sometimes bring their dogs, parents sometimes bring their kids, people go down to have some Sunday roast, or they watch football matches or any sporting event. So it's very much part of culture to meet people outside of work, and people make active efforts to meet each other, especially work colleagues. It's just a whole different vibe, and people make efforts and put in efforts to have a social life outside of their work life. Point number 4 is balance. There is definitely a good work-life and social life balance over here. As a junior doctor, you're rota to work only 40 hours a week. I mean, there can be some weeks wherein you work more than 40 hours, but then you compensate it with off days or post on-call off days or 0 days. But on an average, you only work 40 hours a week, and you never work for more than 12 hours at a stretch, which wouldn't have been the case if I was living back home. There are definitely boundaries when it comes to finishing work and going home. As in, if I go home, I'm not going to be called at 2 a.m. by the nurse in charge asking or telling me that, oh, someone's having chest pain, what do I do? There's always out of hours duty doctor, someone else who's responsible for it, and not you, even if it's a part of your 9 to 5 job. You have bank holidays, annual leaves, weekends off, unless you're on call. You have 0 days, you have teaching days, you have study leave, you have all kinds of leave and off. And I think that gives you best kind of balance that you can ask for. If you compare this with any of your colleagues, whether they're working in India or in Australia or in the USA, I bet you wouldn't have so much of downtime compared to our rota over here. You know, I'm all about numbers and data, so I've got a list of numbers over here just to give you a little bit of perspective. The average allocated holidays in India, or paid holidays, this is barring your national holidays and public holidays and your bank holidays and all that. I'm just saying the paid holidays in India is 12 to 15 days a year. The average allocated holidays in the USA, or paid holidays again, barring the national holidays and all of that, is 10 to 12 days in a year. Again, the average allocated holidays in Canada, again, which are paid holidays when you're working, barring all the national holidays and everything, is 10 to 20. In Australia, it's 20. Then in the UK, so the average allocated or paid holidays in the UK, barring all the national holidays and the weekends that are off and the bank holidays and everything, barring all of that, it's 20 to 28 days in a year. So this gives you kind of a perspective of how much work life and, you know, outside of work life, your social life or personal life balance you can get over here with the number of leaves that you're allowed to take, basically the paid holidays that the company gives you. And another point is that in countries like in India and in the USA, you need to have worked with a company for a certain number of weeks or months before you are even entitled to these holidays, which is not the case in the UK. Another crucial point which I found out while researching this topic was that in the UK you have 1 year paid maternity leave. This was a very crucial point for me and might not be for others, but when it comes to things like any formal pathways, say whether you're applying for your visa or you're getting a driver's license or applying for bank loan or getting a house or applying for exams or anything to basically formally get into the system, there is a proper procedure to it. There's a proper pathway to it. You cannot get away with things like jugaad or paying under the table. So yeah, things like that, they're very important to me. I don't appreciate when people cut the line just because they have the authority to or they have the money to, if that makes any sense. Point number 6 is public transport. The public transport is freaking amazing in this country and everybody uses the public transport, whether it's the tube or the national rail services or the bus services. Honestly, it's so much cheaper to get the public transport or get the tube than to drive your car around in central London. The train and the buses run till late in London and you can literally catch train to anywhere in the UK or outside of UK in Europe. And here's a tip how you can save some more money is that you can buy these rail card and rail passes which have these discounts, something like, you know, if you have 2s together card or if you have 26 to 30 card, you get 33% off every single ticket that you purchase for a whole year. Or if you have student pass, basically if you're in a college or in a university, you get so many discounts using that as well, including for your rail travel and rail cards and everything. Alright, point number 7 is very dear to my heart. It's free healthcare system or the NHS. If you're new over here, then just to let you know, I am a working doctor in NHS, which stands for National Health Services. I've got a few data and facts over here. So NHS is the second largest single payer healthcare system in the world and overall the 10th largest employer in the world, including all the public companies and institutions. It is primarily funded by the government from general taxation plus a small amount from your national insurance contributions and is overseen by the Department of Health and Social Care. So basically the NHS provides healthcare all legal English resident. So if you're on a tier 2 visa like me, you again have access to free healthcare system because you're part of the system and you've got your BRP, which is British Residence Permit. Other than that, some services like the emergency treatment and treatment of infectious diseases are free for most people, including visitors. Where else in the world can you brag about a healthcare system like that? Also, while I'm on the note of free healthcare, I just want to say that I'm a big advocate for NHS staying as is and for it to not get privatized, because look at the countries where the healthcare system is privatized and it's so difficult for some people to access healthcare needs or to even pay for their medical bills. I really don't want that to ever happen in the UK. Alright, so point number 8. London, just as a city, is so multicultural. You have literally people from all different backgrounds, race, ethnicity, and nationalities. It's honestly a melting point of all very different cultures. You will never feel out of place. I'm a foreign medical graduate and have never ever felt more at home than I have in London, and this is something I absolutely love about living over here. You can even find markets and grocery stores catering to all different nationalities over here in the UK. This is something again I love about London, is that literally if you bump into a group of people, I can bet you that at least one person in that would not be from, you know, UK, or at least their parents would be immigrants and wouldn't be from over here. I love the diversity over here. You can experience such variety in cuisines, in culture, in nationalities, in race, in ethnicity. Is just absolutely amazing the kind of exposure you get over here. Art, music, theatre, and everything in the creative space. London is always bustling with artistic and creative energy. There's always live shows taking place, theatre performances, music, concerts. Is honestly something for everyone. If you know there's an international artist touring right now on like their global tour, you definitely know they're going to make a visit to the UK. Point number 10 is nature and UK's countryside. You know, you can literally spot the hills and the national royal parks even while you're living in a very densely populated city like London. And also, did you know that a lot of the wildlife in the UK is owned by the Queen? I've got another fact over here. So she technically owns all the whales and dolphins and a lot of the aquatic wildlife, and also a lot of the animals in the royal parks that you see, basically these birds and the ducks and everything, all around England and in Wales. Yeah, so I absolutely love going on these walking trails or hiking. This is something I never really did in India. I wasn't much of a nature person, and given a nice day, I wouldn't mind walking to work, and it takes nearly 40 minutes to walk to work. And between the choice of catching a 40 minutes of public transport and 40 minutes of walk, I really wouldn't mind walking. And in India, I wouldn't ever dream of going through a 40 minutes walk. I mean, I would be so sweaty and exhausted and sticky. So much of pollution. So yeah, that's something which I really never got to do given the whole atmosphere and environment over there. And that's something I really love over here. Like, me and Dean wouldn't mind going on these long walks, and it's just so beautiful. And there are so many parks over here, and these are all protected green spaces. And there's so many smaller, quaint little towns just outside of London. They are literally within an hour's train ride or car ride away. Say it's Cotswold or Bath Spa or Brighton or Windsor, and these are really different towns to how London looks like. So the architecture is different. So it's kind of amazing that within an hour's time you can reach to these smaller little towns and have like a day's outing and come back to London. So the nature and the countryside over here is beautiful, and this is something that I really cherish living here in London. So point number 11 is the history and architecture. There is so much history and culture embedded in the architecture over here. It's just something about these buildings that just take you back in time. Unbelievable how old these buildings are and how they have this power of transporting you back in an era. Literally the whole country looks this way. I remember the first time Dean and I visited the UK, and I just kept looking at him and saying that this doesn't look real. This literally looks like a movie set. How can a whole country look this way? Like, this is what we've seen in movies and you think that sets are built. It's literally like you're living in a magical city, and it's unreal. And I absolutely appreciate living in this historic city of London. Sometimes I still keep pinching myself that, is this real? Like, do we actually live over here? And I don't think I'll ever get over this feeling, and I never want to. Talking of data and numbers, here's another fun fact. Did you know that there were 2,500 castles in the whole of UK, out of which nearly 1,500 alone are in Scotland? If you haven't ever visited Scotland, I would recommend you put it on top of your list. That whole country is magical. It's just, I can't think of any other word. It's just magical. It's so different in architecture to how England is, and at the same time it feels like you don't live in 2021. It's just beautiful. So if you haven't ever visited Scotland, definitely would recommend visiting Scotland and visiting the castles over there. Point number 12 is the weather. So you know, when I was growing up in India, there were probably only two distinct seasons that I experienced. One was summers and one was rainy, and it wasn't really cold down south. So if you compare the winters to India, it's not really cold unless you're living really up north. Like I'm talking of Jammu and Kashmir or Ladakh and everything, or the northeast. That's where like there's winter, but that's not where I lived anyway. So yeah, so the winters over here, they can be really cold, but then they make you appreciate summers. It can be cold and freezing, but then the vibe is just something else. And then, you know, on top of it, you have Christmas in the winters, and if it snows on Christmas Day, that's literally like icing on the cake. And then followed by winters, you have a distinct season, which is like spring season. You have the cherry blossoms and the roses, and it's just so beautiful out there. And then after that, you have your summers, and in the summers, it's like you've got your long days where the sun really doesn't even settle 10 p.m. and you have these picnics in the parks, and people are out there with their families. The beaches are full. It's just a whole different vibe. And then you have your autumn season. The autumn season, it's like what we're experiencing right now. It's all golden and orange and brown, and it's all shades beautiful, all these distinct seasons that you read in a book. But then obviously I know that the English weather is unpredictable and you can have a downpour, but the best thing is that the rains over here are quite short-lived and they're not really rain if you compare it to back home in India. But yeah, I really appreciate the fact that I've now experienced proper 4 seasons in a year, and sometimes in the UK you might just experience 4 seasons in a single day, if you know what I mean. In spite of all that, in spite of the rain which comes and goes, in spite of the gloomy weather, I still really love the weather over here, because most of the year it's not really hot and there's a little bit of chill in the air, which I like more than me sweating and having sticky feeling. So yeah, so absolutely love living over here because of the weather. Point number 13 is Christmas festivities. We're almost entering Christmas season and I cannot wait for December to begin. Although the Christmas decor is already up in London, that's something that happens from the beginning of November. Although my husband is Catholic, I think I'm more excited about Christmas spirit than he is. I just love the decor, the food, the wine, the Christmas markets, the air, the weather. Everything is just so perfect when it comes to Christmas, and I cannot wait to start exploring Christmas markets this year, because hopefully this year nothing happens around Christmas with regards to COVID. The last time we had Christmas market season was 2 years back, and that was when my mum was visiting and Dean was here and we weren't married. So this would be a proper experience with Christmas markets post-marriage, although we've experienced it twice, but still it's not the same. Can't wait for it. Then you have the ice skating rinks outside the Natural History Museum or outside Somerset House. So it's just a whole different vibe, and you have like ballet shows you go to, and you know, people are just so excited and chirpy and happy, and all the shopping and all the sales season. I just cannot wait for the Christmas festivities. I mean, it's not the reason why I moved to the UK to experience Christmas. I could have just been a visitor, but it's definitely a bonus and worth a mention over here. Point number 14 is better pay. Talking about money is kind of a taboo in the Asian subcontinent. I think we should normalize it. I think if it's okay to talk about your professional, personal and social goals in life, then you should very openly talk about your financial goals as well. It's okay to say that, oh, you want to earn more. I think it's high time we normalize talking about having dreams of earning more money. And one of the prime reasons I moved out of India is the better pay over here. I mean, I've been financially independent since the day I moved out of India, and I've known so many IMGs, basically international medical graduates, who bought houses within a few years of moving to the UK. And that is something I don't think I or they would have dreamed of if they were a junior doctor working in India. So this is the last point, which is the VAT. Basically, this is kind of a direct comparison to India and USA. The way it works in India is that it works on something called the sales tax system. So whatever price you see on the shelf or on the counter or on the menu is not what the final price is, because there are other bits of taxes that get added to it when your final bill arrives. That's not the case in UK. The way it works in the UK is that it operates on the VAT system. So basically what that means in simple words is that things on the menu and on the shelf are all tax inclusive. I mean, in simple words, the way I feel about it is that if I'm dining at a restaurant and I order a bunch of things along with my friends, at the end of the night when the bill arrives, if it is way more than what I thought it would be because there are a gazillion other taxes added to it, I really wouldn't be happy about it, or I would be nervous throughout the dinner thinking that, oh, it's definitely the bill is going to be much more because I don't know what else taxes they're going to add to it. But that's not how it works in the UK. You pay what you see on the menu and you pay for what you buy at the counter, and that is something which might not be a deciding factor for others, but it just makes me feel more comfortable and at ease. So yeah, it's kind of a personal preference, and I thought I just should add it to the list. With that, we've reached to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I know some of the reasons weren't very conventional, but I was thinking last night, what are the reasons that I moved to the UK for, or what are the reasons I still love living in the UK? And these are the reasons that popped in my head. But if you think there should be some more reasons which I should have included, then please do drop it down in the comment section below. Or if you just want to say a hi, or just probably comment on what I should have done differently or said differently, feel free to write it down in the comment section. Or if I've given any wrong information, please correct me and write that as well in the comment section. So yeah, and if you enjoyed this video, then you know the drill. Do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then please do. We've just crossed 16,000 subscribers. Cannot believe that. So thank you so much for the love and support. And this is the end of it, and I hope you're keeping safe and looking after yourself. I have another video on the reasons why I love working in psychiatry. I'll put it over here if you want to go and watch that. And I make a lot of videos regarding my foreign medical graduate journey or my IMG journey, and it's to do with the licensing exam, which is PLAB. So if you want to watch that, I will leave it over here. And yeah, that's the end of it. Keep safe. See ya. Bye. Mwah.